Welcome to the Grimdark Chronicles. Something of mystery, an information repository, and a place of history and bygone times. With the archival world of Calliope lost to heretical treachery, now only a few data repositories remain. The genetic legacy of the Primarch. The Genan Seed is the cornerstone of a Space Marine chapter's identity, derived directly from the Primarchs, the superhuman sons of the Emperor of mankind. Each Space Marine chapter's Genan Seed contains genetic material that originates from their Primarch, enabling the Space Marines to inherit some of their unique characteristics and abilities. For example, the Ultramarines' Genan Seed stems from Robot Guilliman, making their genetic material particularly stable and often used as the basis for new Space Marine chapters. In contrast, the Genan Seed of chapters like the Blood Angels, derived from Sanguinius, carries certain inherent flaws such as the Red Thirst and Black Rage, manifestations of Sanguinius's tragic death during the Horus Heresy. The Genan Seed carries immense historical significance because it is directly tied to the Emperor's original Astartes project, which sought to create legions of transhuman warriors. This Genan Seed includes advanced biological modifications, making the process a combination of science and mysticism over the millennia. Every chapter sees their Genan Seed as a sacred relic, often invoking their Primarch spirit and the Emperor himself during rituals to implant new recruits. The purity and stability of Genan Seed are vital to a chapter's survival, as mutations can jeopardize the chapter's future. In the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, Genan Seed management became even more critical. The legions were broken into smaller chapters, and each chapter's Genan Seed was isolated to prevent contamination. For instance, most of the Genan Seed from the traitor legions was placed under stasis, while many chapters' Genan Seed stocks remained intact through extensive monitoring by the Adeptus Mechanicus, who now oversee Genan Seed collection and storage. Unique mutations or flaws in the Genan Seed mutations. In the Genan Seed can cause a wide range of physiological and psychological effects, some of which are seen as beneficial, while others are crippling flaws. One of the most well-known examples is the Blood Angels' Genan Seed, which carries the Black Rage and Red Thirst, cursed afflictions that cause Space Marines to lose themselves to berserk fury or a vampiric hunger for blood. These flaws are tied to the overactive homophagia organ in the Blood Angels and their successors, such as the Blood Drinkers, who suffer an even more extreme form of the Red Thirst. Other chapters also exhibit mutations that impact their combat effectiveness. The Black Dragons have a malfunctioning osmodula, leading to the growth of bony, blade-like extrusions from their foreheads and forearms, making them physically formidable but grotesque in appearance. The Space Wolves, influenced by their Canis Helix, exhibit heightened senses and animalistic traits. But this also makes them prone to the curse of the Wulfen, where some Space Marines devolve into uncontrollable, lupine monstrosities. In the Cursed Founding, many chapters were formed in an attempt to eliminate such flaws from the Genan Seed, but ironically, many of these new chapters ended up with even more severe genetic defects. This era highlighted the inherent risks of tampering with the already fragile nature of Genan Seed. The recruitment process, from aspirant to Space Marine. The recruitment process to become a Space Marine is both grueling and deadly, starting with the selection of aspirants, often boys or young men chosen from the harsh environments of a chapter's homeworld. These worlds are typically violent and unforgiving, such as the toxic wastelands of Baal for the Blood Angels, or the death world Fenris, home to the Space Wolves. Candidates are put through a series of brutal tests to prove their physical endurance, combat skills, and mental resilience. Only the most capable survive to become neophytes, the next step in their transformation. The journey from aspirant to Space Marine includes the implantation of 19 specialized organs, each designed to drastically alter the physiology of the recruit. This includes the secondary heart, which grants Space Marines enhanced endurance and survivability, and the os modula, which strengthens the skeletal structure. As neophytes, they also receive extreme conditioning, undergoing pain tolerance training, combat drills, and spiritual indoctrination to fully transform them into the Emperor's transhuman warriors. During their time as Scout Marines, the neophytes serve on the battlefield, often undertaking reconnaissance missions and stealth operations, while their bodies continue to adapt to the Genan Seed implants. Their success in this phase determines whether they will survive to become fully fledged Space Marines, making the recruitment process one of the deadliest paths in the Imperium. Each chapter's rites of passage are tailored to forge their aspirants into Space Marines, aligning with their unique cultural traditions and genetic heritage. These trials are often grueling, both physically and mentally, designed to eliminate all but the most resilient. Beyond testing combat prowess, these rites frequently involve severe tests of endurance, mental resilience, and spiritual faith. For example, in the Imperial Fists, aspirants undergo a torturous trial known as the Hand of Faith, where they endure days of relentless physical strain, often without sustenance. This serves as a testament to their ability to endure suffering, a cornerstone of the chapter's philosophy. Surviving this grueling experience ingrains in the neophyte the stoicism for which the Imperial Fists are renowned. On the other hand, the Blood Angels emphasize a more spiritual connection to their Primarch through the rite of insanguination, in which aspirants are injected with the blood of Sanguinius himself. This is both a symbolic act of rebirth and a literal test, as it puts them at risk of inheriting the Blood Angel's tragic flaws, such as the red thirst. In contrast, the Space Wolves subject their aspirants to the terrifying blooding trial on their death world of Fenris. This brutal initiation sees the recruits released into the frozen wilderness with minimal supplies, where they must survive the deadly fauna and the hostile environment. Those who succeed are further tested when injected with the volatile Canis helix, a gene-altering substance that enhances their physical abilities but risks transforming them into savage, bestial creatures known as wolfen. Only those who can master the changes become Space Wolves. The White Scars, rooted in their nomadic Mongol-like heritage, perform a series of trials that test both physical prowess and the aspirant's speed and adaptability. The rites of the Risen Moon draw on their cultural traditions, emphasizing the values of loyalty, honor, and mastery of speed. These aspirants must prove they can live up to the chapter's legacy as fast-moving, deadly warriors before they are considered worthy. Role of the Apothecaries in maintaining the Genan Seed. Apothecaries are essential to every Space Marine chapter, responsible not only for battlefield medicine, but for the preservation of the chapter's most precious resource, the Genan Seed. They perform vital duties both in combat, where they recover fallen Marines' Genan Seed for future implantation and in their laboratories, where they monitor the health of living space marines. The gene seed is harvested from progenoid glands, which develop inside a space marine's body over several years, storing the genetic material necessary to create new Astartes. Apothecaries use specialized equipment like the narthexium, a field medical device with a surgical arm attachment called the reductor, to extract these glands during battle. These devices allow them to swiftly recover the gene seed before it is lost to the ravages of war or corruption. Once harvested, the progenoid glands are sent to the chapter's apothecarian, where they are meticulously studied to ensure they remain free of mutations. The Adeptus Mechanicus also mandates that chapters send a portion of their gene seed to be stored on Mars, both for founding new chapters and for monitoring the genetic stability of the existing ones. Apothecaries not only preserve the genetic legacy of the chapter, but are also responsible for implanting the gene seed into neophytes. This process is delicate and fraught with danger, as any failure during the implantation of the 19 specialized organs could kill the recruit or result in mutations that could endanger the entire chapter. Their work is as much an act of spiritual devotion as it is a scientific endeavor, often accompanied by prayers and rituals to ensure the chapter's sacred genetic material remains pure. The importance of the chapter's gene secrets. Every Space Marine chapter jealously guards the secrets of its gene seed, not just for the practical purpose of survival, but because the gene seed is intimately tied to their chapter's identity, traditions, and Primarch. These gene secrets represent not only the biological material that allows them to create new Marines, but also the spiritual and cultural foundation of the chapter. The gene seed is revered as a living link to their Primarch, making any mutations or flaws a source of shame, deeply intertwined with the chapter's honor. Gene secrets are often closely guarded even within a chapter, known only to the highest-ranking members, such as the Apothecaries, chaplains, and chapter master. In some cases, the flaws in the gene seed, such as the black rage of the Blood Angels, are not widely known, even among their own brethren. Protecting these secrets from external forces like the Inquisition is vital, as revealing significant flaws could invite scrutiny, interference, or even destruction if the mutation is deemed too severe. Moreover, the Adeptus Mechanicus plays a role in monitoring gene seed across the Imperium, with each chapter required to send a percentage of its gene seed for testing and storage. This process helps the Imperium track genetic stability and identify chapters suffering from excessive mutations. While most chapters comply, there is always a risk that their secrets could be exposed during this tithe, which might lead to their being branded as renegades or being subjected to harsh measures by the Inquisition. In some extreme cases, chapters with dangerously unstable gene seed, such as those from the cursed founding, face extinction. How recruits are chosen on the chapter's homeworld Space Marine chapters typically recruit from the harshest and most brutal worlds in the Imperium, seeking candidates who have already proven their resilience through survival in these extreme environments. These worlds, often referred to as death worlds, are home to hostile ecosystems, warring tribes, or constant warfare, and only the toughest and most resourceful individuals are able to thrive. For example, the Blood Angels recruit from the irradiated wastelands of Baal, where tribesmen constantly fight for survival while the Space Wolves recruit from the frozen hellscape of Fenris, where only the strongest survive. The recruitment process usually begins when a chapter sends its representatives, often chaplains or apothecaries, to assess the population. These individuals evaluate candidates based on their physical capabilities, mental resilience, and potential genetic compatibility with the chapter's gene seed. In some chapters, this process is formalized into ritualized trials, where candidates must compete in deadly challenges or prove their worth in combat. The selection criteria can vary dramatically between chapters. For instance, the White Scars prioritize speed and agility in their recruits, mirroring their tactics of lightning-fast raids, while the Imperial Fists look for those who possess unshakable resolve and the ability to endure extreme physical and mental hardships. These qualities reflect the chapter's unique combat doctrines and values, ensuring that only those who embody the chapter's ideals are chosen. How recruits are chosen on the chapter's homeworld, continued recruitment into the Adeptus Astartes, is a selective process, with each chapter hand-picking individuals from their homeworld or nearby systems based on unique criteria. The majority of Space Marine chapters recruit from feral or death worlds, where the population must struggle daily against natural hazards, predators, or warfare. These harsh environments serve as natural proving grounds, ensuring only the strongest and most adaptable candidates can survive. For example, the Space Wolves recruit from the warlike inhabitants of Fenris, a world with freezing winters and giant predators, where only the hardiest endure. The White Scars recruit from the nomadic tribes of Chogoris, favoring individuals who demonstrate exceptional speed and horsemanship, reflecting their chapter's fast attack warfare. Each chapter has its own method of selecting recruits, often involving trials that reflect their specific combat philosophies. The Blood Angels, for instance, are known for selecting aspirants from Baal's irradiated wastelands. Here, the people fight for survival amidst the radiation and mutated fauna, with the strongest being offered a chance to ascend to the Blood Angels. In some chapters, the selection process is less about direct trials and more about identifying those individuals who show innate potential for leadership, strength, or resilience. However, recruitment isn't purely about physical prowess. Chapters like the Imperial Fists value endurance and mental fortitude, choosing recruits who demonstrate an iron will and unflinching loyalty. The chapter's homeworld of Inwit produces particularly hardy warriors due to its freezing climate and scarcity of resources, ensuring that only those who can endure the harshest conditions are selected. Recruits are chosen not just to bolster the chapter's numbers, but to reflect its cultural and martial heritage, ensuring each new generation embodies the ideals of its Primarch. The survival rate of aspirants. The journey from aspirant to fully fledged Space Marine is perilous, with a staggeringly low survival rate. Most chapters see the majority of aspirants die during the initial trials, which often involve life-threatening tests of strength, endurance, and combat ability. The Space Wolves, for instance, put aspirants through the aforementioned blooding on Fenris, where they must survive in the wild while being hunted by predators. This stage alone kills most candidates. Similarly, Blood Angels aspirants face deadly trials of endurance and combat against rival tribes or fearsome wildlife in the wastelands of Baal. Beyond the trials, many aspirants die during the surgical implantation of gene seed organs. The transformation from human to Astartes is fraught with biological dangers. The introduction of 19 distinct gene seed organs into a neophyte's body must be carefully monitored, and any failure in this process can result in death or horrific mutation. The Apothecaries play a critical role here, yet even their advanced techniques cannot guarantee the safety of all neophytes. Mortality rates during the implantation of certain organs, like the os modula, which affects skeletal growth, or the progenoid glands, which are essential for creating future gene seed, can be high for chapters with more unstable gene seed, such as those from the cursed founding. Survival rates are even lower due to the higher likelihood of mutations. Some aspirants may endure the physical transformations, but later succumb to genetic flaws or degenerative conditions, such as the Black Rage among the Blood Angels or the Wolfen Curse within the Space Wolves. On average, it's estimated that fewer than 1 in 100 aspirants survive the entire process to become full Space Marines, making recruitment one of the most dangerous journeys in the Imperium rituals surrounding the implantation of gene seed organs. The implantation of gene seed organs is not merely a surgical procedure. It is treated as a sacred rite, steeped in religious and cultural significance. For many chapters, the act of implanting the gene seed is both a medical and spiritual transformation, symbolizing the aspirant's rebirth as one of the Emperor's chosen warriors. These rituals often involve the Apothecaries performing complex rites and chants, invoking the Primarch and the Emperor's blessing to ensure the successful transformation of the neophyte. The process involves the surgical implantation of up to 19 organs, such as the secondary heart, os modula, and the progenoid glands. Each implant plays a critical role in enhancing the neophyte's physiology, and any failure during this process could result in death or permanent disability. For example, the oculobe alters the neophyte's vision, allowing them to see in low light conditions, while the multi-lung enables them to breathe in toxic or low oxygen atmospheres. The introduction of each implant is accompanied by prayers and hymns, as the neophyte's body is reshaped into something more than human. Some chapters have specific ceremonies associated with certain organs. The Blood Angels, for example, consider the implantation of the progenoid glands particularly sacred, as it is through these glands that the chapter's genetic legacy is preserved. Similarly, the Space Wolves inject their recruits with the Canis Helix, a gene-altering serum that binds the neophyte to the feral spirit of Fenris, transforming them into warriors with heightened senses and primal instincts. However, this process is fraught with danger, as it can also lead to the recruit becoming a savage wolfen, an uncontrollable beast. Neophyte training, physical and psychological conditioning. Once the aspirants survive the initial trials and implantation, they begin their arduous training as neophytes. This phase involves rigorous physical and psychological conditioning, designed to transform them into the Emperor's transhuman warriors. Physically, neophytes undergo intense combat drills, weapons training, and battlefield simulations. Their bodies, already enhanced by the gene seed organs, are pushed to their limits as they learn to fight with both bolter and chainsword. Every neophyte must be proficient in a range of combat styles, from ranged firefights to brutal melee engagements. In addition to the physical training, neophytes are subjected to psychological conditioning. Space Marines are not only warriors, but also paragons of discipline and loyalty. Neophytes must be able to withstand the horrors of the battlefield without succumbing to fear or despair. This psychological hardening often involves combat simulations, where neophytes face overwhelming odds or fight against impossible scenarios to test their mental resilience. Furthermore, the neophytes are indoctrinated in the chapter's lore and traditions, learning to venerate their Primarch and the Emperor above all else. Many chapters also employ specialized roles for their neophytes. For instance, neophytes often serve as scout marines, tasked with reconnaissance and infiltration missions. This allows them to gain battlefield experience while continuing their training. The Imperial Fists and Raven Guard are particularly known for this approach, using their scouts in guerrilla warfare and long-range reconnaissance operations. Through this dual focus on physical prowess and mental toughness, neophytes are molded into fully fledged Space Marines, ready to serve their chapter with unwavering loyalty. The importance of bloodlines in the chapter's recruitment. Bloodlines can play a critical role in a chapter's recruitment, particularly for chapters with deep-rooted traditions tied to their homeworld. While the genetic material of the Genan Seed is primarily based on the DNA of the Primarchs, some chapters value bloodlines as a reflection of local heritage and compatibility with their genetic legacy. For example, the Blood Angels emphasize the bloodline of aspirants from Baal, believing that recruits from certain tribes are more likely to embody the characteristics of their Primarch, Sanguinius. In chapters such as the White Scars, aspirants are chosen from warrior tribes that have historically been loyal to the chapter. This connection between bloodlines and recruitment ensures that the chapter maintains a continuous link with the cultural traditions of their homeworld. Some chapters believe that bloodlines can influence an aspirant's ability to adapt to the Genan Seed implants, making certain individuals more likely to survive the transformation into a Space Marine. Additionally, bloodlines can impact the stability of a chapter's Genan Seed. The Imperial Fists, known for their meticulous record-keeping and dedication to purity, sometimes track the familial heritage of their aspirants, ensuring that only the most resilient and capable individuals are selected. This emphasis on bloodlines, while not universal across all chapters, is one of the many factors that can influence recruitment, ensuring that the chapter's traditions and genetic legacy remain intact.